Why is it a big deal that the Pokemon World Championships are coming down hard on hacked Pokemon right now? Well, first of all, it has nothing to do with completing the game on single player mode. Yeah, Pokemon's a pretty easy game. It has to do with the competitive scene, like the scene where you can actually make money by competing in tournaments. And to viably compete in this scene, you need essentially perfect Pokemon with perfect stats. And that takes time, and a lot of people will say that the reason that it takes time is the reason why you should allow hacked Pokemon. Because the Pokemon Championships shouldn't be testing how much free time you have, they should be asking how good you are at choosing the right choices in battle. But even then, there are counter-arguments where people are like, well, catching Pokemon is part of Pokemon, that should be part of the process, blah, blah, blah. The problem isn't time. The problem is money. Because they are allowing Pokemon from previous generations that are not available to be gotten in the current generation, in current competitive, well, that means that the people who have more access to money will have access to better teams. Not all Pokemon World Championships ran it this way. Many previous tournaments were locked out just to the regional Pokemon. But now this means that someone who has just Scarlet and Violet is at a very big disadvantage. Because some competitive Pokemon come from Legends Arceus. Some come from even earlier games, stretching all the way back to the DS. And some come from DLC. Like Urshifu is a competitive staple, and to get that, you need the Sword and Shield DLC. So to play on equal competitive footing in the Pokemon World Championships, you have to spend literally hundreds of dollars on nearly every Pokemon that has come out since the DS era, or be at a disadvantage. And a lot of people's reaction to this is, oh, well, if you're that big of a Pokemon fan, you will have kept your games, right? But that's not the case. A lot of people have sold their games, and there was no way of knowing that this could possibly affect them in the future. So you really have to ask yourself, what are the World Championships actually testing? Because arguably, trading is part of Pokemon, and now you can't trade because of the risk of the person you're trading with trading you a hacked Pokemon. So right now, they've said that trading is not part of the core Pokemon strategy, and that makes people upset. And then in addition to that, you have to ask, is it actually the case that people who have more money should have a bigger advantage? And not just like in terms of running on better equipment, like a literal statistical advantage. Is that fair? Is that what we're actually testing? And many people who play competitive Pokemon say that that's not fair. So there's this argument that if your Pokemon team is rules legal, you should just be able to generate it at any official event. But since you can't, that means that time and money is going to give you an advantage. And since Nintendo is not reselling some of these older Pokemon games, that's a competitive advantage that you can't get back even if you have the money to. And that's not great for a competitive environment.